Some gifts come cloaked in shadows. Kira lived in darkness. Tall grasses swayed, brushed against her skin. The air hung heavy, charged with desperation. Each dawn in Kairos felt like a silent proclamation, a call to survive. Her modest abode? A sanctuary of whispered prayers and trembling hands. The broken and weary streamed to her, seeking solace. Healing wasn't just her talent, it was her duty. Every day she navigated sound, touch, essence, an intricate dance in a world she couldn't see. She fought against the darkness that threatened to consume her. The pain of others wrapped around her heart, tugging at wounds buried deep within. Strangers entered her domain, each carrying their own anguish. Some came with broken bones, others with shattered spirits. Kira learned to listen, the hitch in their breaths, the silence in their souls. She transformed fear into hope, soothed the frayed edges of broken lives. But today was different. A rumble echoed through the village, a sound that twisted her stomach. Confusion seeped through the air like bitter smoke. Hadn't the fires of war ravaged their world enough? Kira smiled through the tightening knot in her chest, forcing herself to believe, maybe, just maybe, today could bring peace. But as warriors limped back, the chaos unfurled, a tapestry of despair. The ground shook, tremors announcing the arrival of ruin. Kira stepped outside into the square, the tang of blood potent in the air. She felt the urgency. Soldiers stumbled, their cries piercing her heart as they fell. A rush. She wanted to help. Where were the echoes of laughter? Where was the warmth of life before the conflict? Before loss? Then he appeared. Kalen, the alphaking, a shadow draped in pain. Even from a distance she could sense the weight on his shoulders, a legacy tying him to the past. The king charged with the ferocity of a storm, dark energy swirling around him. His eyes, deep pools of torment and fury, swept over the chaos. Kira could feel the sharp gaze upon her. Ruthless, powerful. He had fought before, faced a battlefield doused in blood, a realm shrouded in horror. "Get them in," he commanded, voice low and commanding, drawing Kira's focus. She could feel the breath of desperation behind it, the urgency stemming straight from his core. She knew this pull. She stepped forward before her mind could contradict her instinct. Hands moved around her, the bustle of chaos swirling. Kira could feel the presence of bodies shifting, the coarse fabric of clothing brushing against her skin. The cries mixed with the scent of fear, the metallic tang unbearable in her nostrils. There were lives to save, souls to mend. She called on her gift, an extension of her resolve. And then the world collapsed. A soldier fell to her feet, his breath ragged and wheezing. Kira knelt, fingers touching the ground. She could sense the cracks in his armor. The pain nestled inside. Chaos surrounded them, but for her, all else faded. The world shrank. She breathed in, letting out a whisper of strength, reaching deep. "Help is here," she murmured, not only for him, but for herself, a reminder. Tendrils of warmth wrapped around her fingers, pooling into her palms as she laid them against the warrior's chest. Tendrils of energy surged, connecting her to his pain, an intricate bond forming amid the chaos swirling around them. Each heartbeat resonated like thunder, a mirror of the impending storm. The ground trembled with the weight of despair, but within her, a light flickered. Would this gift truly save her? She couldn't ignore the silent battle within, the screams of her own hurt mingling with the cries around her. Kira emerged from darkness into the light, a precursor to what awaited her. Her hands trembled, each healing touch rewiring the essence of both him and her. "More," she breathed. "Show me more." Her touch lingered, breaths intertwined, threading hope through despair. Could light pierce the curtain of shadows? And then, a challenge. She could feel it glittering in the depths of the air. Sudden silence enveloped her. Kalen loomed near, a fierce guardian piercing through the noise. "Now heal yourself." The words hung in the air, vivid and jagged. Unanswered, they sliced through her resolve, demanding more than she was ready to give. What did he really mean? Kira felt the air crackle, charged with an intensity stronger than the chaos around her. The noise of wounded souls faded, swallowed by the weight of Kalen's command. Silence fell like a heavy quilt, stifling, thick. Heal herself? The thought taunted her, a twisting vine around her heart. She touched the soldier's chest, feeling the warmth beneath her fingers, but also the ice of her own unresolved pain. She hadn't asked to heal herself. Not now. Not ever. How could she unearth what lay buried, the shadows tucking themselves into the corners of her mind? Kira pulled back slightly, her breath hitching. The very idea struck like lightning. An acknowledgement of scars too amorphous to confront. She was the one mending, taming the chaos for others. It was a simple bargain, healing for survival. But Kalen's piercing gaze bore into her, the intensity rolling off him like a heat wave. He stood there, every muscle taut, waiting. Did he truly think she, of all people, could piece together the broken shards of her own soul? The alphaking didn't know her story. He only saw a blind healer in a world where light and darkness collided. Moments pooled like water around her, a liquid stillness she couldn't escape. Kira's fingers trembled as they hovered above the soldier. She needed to heal him, the essence of her duty surging forth. Pushing aside the question Kalen posed, she poured energy into the man lying before her. The magic flowed effortlessly, a potent balm binding flesh, mending the pain layered thick beneath the surface. "Hold on," she whispered, grounding herself, her voice a tender thread amid the chaos. "You're going to be okay." But could she promise herself the same thing? Fragments of her past unraveled in the corners of her mind. The day her parents disappeared, an empty home, a cold hearth, the depths of isolation that had engulfed her after. Being blind had never dulled her ability to feel pain, hers or those around her. The shadows of her childhood whispered reminders of that agony, reminders loudly resonating with Kalen's challenge. Her heart hammered as she focused on the soldier. Grief tangled with her memories. She had been orphaned long ago, yet the scars had turned into armor. Every wound she had healed screamed silently, pleading for attention while she masked her own hurts. The soldier's breath steadied beneath her hands, the bond now palpable. He was her focus, her lifeline amid the storm. With a final surge, she released him from the chains of his injuries. He stirred awake, eyes blinking with gratitude, filled with questions left unsaid. Kira's breath caught, a rush of warmth flooding her soul. "You're safe," she murmured, a fragile balm for her own fears. But would she ever truly be safe? Still, Kalen loomed near, a shadow of command. She could sense him there, the deep resonance of his pain. His silence didn't comfort her. It only pushed deeper. What did he see when he looked at her? Strength? Fragility? A healer who mended the broken and found herself equally splintered? Once Kira finished with the soldier, she glanced up, searching for answers in Kalen's darkened gaze. But it was hard to engage with a king whose presence radiated authority while still vulnerable. There were untold stories lurking behind his walls. A man draped in the cloak of nobility, yet trapped by his burdens. "Can you?" he responded, voice a low murmur, almost a challenge. "Can you face your own wounds?" The question echoed in her mind like a bell tolling in the night. Would facing her past unravel her, or free her from the suffocating chains of expectation she had worn for too long? The thought stirred a tempest within her, a confusing maelstrom of fear and anticipation. Each day she had lived for others, sacrificing her own healing at the expense of sovereignty. Yet Kalen needed her as much as she needed him. There was power in admitting the truth, a power they both sought. They weren't merely survivors. They were vessels of pain, threading through a kingdom on the edge. "Does it matter?" Kira's voice faltered. "Shouldn't I be enough as I am?" Kalen's eyes flared, a flicker of something raw flashing across his features. "Healing others won't save you. Not forever." The truth fell between them, jagged and sharp, but it felt like a crack of dawn amid the night. Shadows chased away the remnants of silence, slicing through the weight that seemed to shroud them both. Kira's heart raced, but now, with clarity washing over her, she could see the path ahead. The intertwining threads binding their fates became clearer. Could they forge something beautiful? Something that transcended their scars? In that moment, Kira realized healing was not just about others. It demanded the courage to confront the darkness in herself, the uncertainties she had buried. Kaelin stood in her way, armed with questions and a vulnerability he hadn't shown before. The echoes of their former selves pulled them together, a silent promise amid the chaos. The kingdom around them might crumble, but here they were, two wounded souls, standing on the line of despair and hope. The choice was hers. Would she embrace the light of healing, for herself, entwined with Kaelin's own struggles? They could become the legends of Kairos, disparate yet bound. Could they rise together? Perhaps, she breathed, the words hanging in the air. Perhaps it starts with trusting each other. The shock of daring to hope invigorated her spirit. Kira felt a newfound resolve ripple through her. The tension that had hung between them charged the air as if a storm was brewing, the promise of chaos at their door. Kaelin's presence anchored her, shifting from a mere weight around her neck to a beacon of something uncharted. Yet they both treaded carefully, two lost souls on the edge of awakening. "Trust," Kaelin whispered, his voice a low rumble, echoing in the silence that followed her words. Easy to say, hard to do. His eyes held a depth that mirrored her internal battle. Kira wanted to reach for him, to bridge the chasm carved by their burdens, but the rawness of her vulnerability felt exposed, throbbing with every heartbeat. "Trust begins with understanding," she replied softly, stepping closer, daring to meet the storm within his gaze. "You have wounds you hide. I know that, darkness. Still, we must face it. Together." Kaelin regarded her for a long moment, an unreadable expression playing across his features. Strong, fierce, vulnerable. The remnants of pain etched deep into the lines around his eyes told a story she craved to know. "Then show me, Kira," he finally said, a gentle challenge wrapped in the urgency of his tone. "Show me you can heal your own wounds." Kira looked back toward the faces of the wounded awaiting her, hearts hooked to her soul, stitched by her touch. She felt the weight of that expectation, but now she also sensed the flicker of hope. "Help me see," she murmured, words barely escaping her lips. "Help me break away from these chains." Kaelin shifted closer, his presence a warm cocoon around her. She could feel it. An electric energy sparked, igniting the air between them, but she also felt the shadows dancing, teasing her with terrifying familiarity. "Then we begin." Before she could voice the doubts creeping in, he stepped into action, leading her through the palace halls towards the secluded gardens. "Nature is a healer's sanctuary. The fresh air can ground you," he said, guiding her with care, the urgency of their situation pressing them forward. The sound of leaves rustling filled her ears as they entered the garden. Kira took a breath, inhaling the earthy scent mingled with the fragrance of lavender blooming nearby. The garden was a hidden jewel within the chaos. She could feel life pulsating around her, roots deep in the soil, flowers living in the sun. It felt vibrant, full of possibility. "Can you feel it?" Kaelin asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "The healing energy of the earth?" Kira nodded, her heart racing as she took another breath, grounding herself in the moment. "I can. The flowers. They whisper their stories to me." "Then let's tell our own," Kaelin said, stepping back, giving her the space to breathe. "Begin with one wound at a time." Kira hesitated, the enormity of the moment threatening to swallow her whole. But Kaelin's eyes held a challenge, a rallying cry concealed beneath layers of grief. She could feel her past lurking, a tempest ready to break free. Drawing in an exhausted breath, she closed her eyes, letting the warmth of the sun envelop her. Memories washed over her, a cacophony of sound and sensation. Her parents' laughter, the scent of freshly baked bread, the echoes of silence after their disappearance. The beautiful, painful symphony of her history. She felt a pull, the need to vocalize the hurt, the ghosts that haunted her. "I was alone, abandoned," Kira whispered, each word laced with vulnerability. "My parents were gone, taken by a fire that consumed my childhood." Kaelin's breath caught, a ripple of empathy shimmering in the air. "And yet," he murmured, "you rose. You became the healer they would have been proud of." "I forged my identity in their absence," she admitted, "but I wore my grief like a shroud. Every wound healed in others felt like a reminder of my own unfinished journey. Kaelin stepped closer, the warmth of his proximity urging her on. You've survived. Now you must thrive. With renewed determination burning inside her, Kira opened her eyes. The flowers danced in the quiet breeze, the rustling leaves creating an inviting chorus. The garden was full of life, and she could be too. Slowly, she extended her hands, palms pressing against the earth, grounding herself. "Show me," she murmured. "Help me face my darkness." Roots shifted beneath her fingers, connecting her to the energy of the earth. The petals of nearby blooms opened, unfurling their delicate secrets. Kira felt a pulse, like a heartbeat, merging with her own. A sudden rush of power surged through her veins, each pulse echoing with revelation. The pain of her past and the promise of her future coiled tightly, a tether binding her to the land and forging a connection with Kaelin. In that moment, she found herself, healing, power, essence of life permeating everything she had given away. The air shimmered with possibility. She sensed Kaelin watching her, his intensity a soft flame igniting courage within her. "Now you," she breathed, her gaze locking onto his. "It's your turn." Kaelin hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty flashing across his ice-blue eyes. "My wounds are many," he replied, the weight of his sorrow palpable. Facing them could unleash a darkness that even I fear. But Kira shook her head, determination settling within her. "Just as it brought you here, facing the storm will reveal the light beyond. Let me hear your pain." And for a heartbeat, the world paused, the curtain of their lives falling away as they took a step toward vulnerability, together. Would exploring the depths of their souls finally illuminate the path toward healing? Kira's heart raced, anticipation cracking the air. They stood at the crossroads, the choices made intertwining destinies, two kindred spirits poised to confront their shadows. Together, Kaelin inhaled deeply, weighing her challenge, her piercing gaze urging him closer. In the depths of her eyes, he caught a glimpse of empathy, a light he had buried for far too long. The thought of opening himself up sent a shiver down his spine, but Kira's presence felt like an anchor, drawing him from the whirlpool of doubt. "Where do I even begin?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Start with your truth," Kira encouraged, her hands resting on the soil. "Let it take root. Speak to me." His heart pounded like a war drum, echoing the fears he'd buried beneath layers of duty and expectation. Being a king meant wearing a mask, one imbued with strength and determination. But the cracks were forming, and if he didn't let them show, they would splinter. Kaelin glanced toward the distant horizon, the sun beginning to set in burning shades of gold and crimson. "I lost my family," he confessed. "My father, my mother, both taken from me by betrayal. My younger brother, his life destroyed in an ambush. He swallowed hard, memories choking him. I was left alone." The words hung heavy in the air, each syllable a touchstone to his grief. Kira remained silent, her gaze unwavering, giving him the strength to continue. "I had to take on the mantle of Alpha," he continued, emotion thickening his voice, "to lead our pack through turmoil and chaos. Yet, I carry their blood on my hands. Every time I lead, I feel their absence, like a wound that never heals." Kira tilted her head, her eyes softening. "You've held the weight of this kingdom on your shoulders, yet you still question your worth. You are not to blame for the betrayals of others, Kaelin." "I should have seen it coming," he replied, bitterness creeping into his tone. "It was my duty to protect them. How can I lead when I've failed those I loved most?" "By understanding," she urged, her voice steady. "By allowing that pain to guide your strength, not siphon it away. Your childhood was stolen, but you still have a choice." Her words wrapped around him, a lifeline in the open ocean of despair. Kaelin could feel her healing energy enveloping him, mingling with his pain, creating a kaleidoscope of color, a tapestry woven from wounds and strength. Trust surged within him, awakening the dormant vulnerabilities that had long cried for air. Before he could lose his nerve, he stepped closer. "How do I move forward?" He searched her face for answers. "Can I trust that others won't betray me?" Kira's heart raced at the intensity of his gaze. "Trust starts with you. with acknowledging your pain, allowing it to bring you closer to those who fight beside you. Closing his eyes, Kalen lost himself in the sea of memories, the warmth of those he had loved, laughter echoing in grand halls. He could almost feel the soft touch of his mother's hand, the unwavering belief in her voice. But betrayal had curdled those memories, twisting them as dark shadows engulfed bright moments. "Kira," he whispered, voice trembling. "Sometimes the shadows pull me in, and I worry I might drown. Then let me help you see, Kalen." She reached out, linking her fingers with his, an extraordinary warmth igniting in that delicate touch. "I'm here to help every step of the way." Her words crashed over him like waves, pulling him from the depths of his turmoil. They stood united, a fierce duo, hearts aligned in their pursuit of healing. Kalen opened his eyes and held her gaze, sensing the shared energy swirling between them, a tether binding their wounds. "Show me," he said, a new calm settling within. "Help me heal the scars that bind me." Kira nodded, her determination cascading around them like sunlight filtering through the trees. He felt her connection to the earth, the blossoming life rooting around them, and hesitated, fear clutching at him. Where would this lead? What if he couldn't face it? "Trust the process," Kira whispered, her eyes encouraging. "Let the earth show you what you need to learn." He felt the pull, like roots weaving through his fingers, a reminder of the strength encasing them. The garden buzzed with life, echoing the winds of change, humming in expectation. Kalen pressed his palms into the soil, drawing breath, grounding himself in Kira's energy. He felt an electric pulse surge through him, wrapping around his heart, inviting him to relinquish control, to confront pain anew. The memories cascaded once more, each betrayal, every tear shed for love lost, fueling his recounting. "They took so much from me. Hold on to that," Kira urged, as if threading his pain through her fingers. "Let it become your strength." Kalen took another breath and continued, pushing through the shadows. "But I found solace in their absence. In leading my pack and rebuilding what was destroyed, no one will take what is mine again." A sudden rush of energy flowed through him, a sense of empowerment invigorating his spirit as if nature itself whispered hope, anchoring him. Shadows gave way to vibrant colors, flickering amid the dark corners his heart had hidden from. "Yes," Kira breathed, piercingly enthusiastic. "Feel your strength. It's not just what you've endured, it's what you will create. Your family lives within you." A warmth enveloped him, wrapping in healing light, a fusion of their energies. Kalen opened his eyes wider and glimpsed a vision, the kingdom thriving, laughter echoing through halls once filled with echoes of darkness, the faces of his family smiling by his side. "Together, we can build this," he murmured, the realization igniting within him like a roaring flame. "The past can forge a new future." "Yes," Kira echoed softly, warmth blossoming between them. "You are not defined by your past. You carry the weight of your ancestors' whispers, but it's your choice to listen." As shadows receded beneath the intensity of their connection, Kalen felt lighter, as if burdens were shedding from his spirit. Their hearts beat in synchronization, a rhythm rising stronger than any discord that sought to divide. Kira stepped closer, her presence a soothing balm. Kalen knew their connection was not merely rooted in shadows, but held the potential for light. "Will you stand with me?" he asked, eyes searching hers. "Through the shadows and the dawn?" "Yes," she replied, voice thick with emotion. "Always." In that moment, a spark ignited between them, a silent promise woven through their hearts. They would face everything together, emerging from their dark pasts into the light of an uncertain but hopeful future. The garden around them flourished, unearthing the remnants of despair and blossoming into life, pouring new energy into their intertwining paths. Would this be the dawn of new beginnings for them both? Together, unyielding against the tides of fate, the journey was only just beginning. The garden thrummed with life, a tangible echo of their newly ignited hope, but the peace was fragile. Kalen's heart raced as he felt a shift, a shadow looming over them, reminding him that their moments of clarity could vanish in an instant. "Do you feel it?" Kira asked, her brow knitting slightly as the sunlight dimmed. casting long shadows across the vibrant blooms. Kaylin's instincts sharpened. An ominous presence. Something's not right. Before he could fathom what lurked at the edges of their sanctuary, a chilling howl pierced the air. The sound resonated like a siren, terror streaking through the garden. A shudder gripped him, and his grip tightened around Kira's hand. "It's the wolves," Kaylin said. "The pack. Something's happened." Kira's eyes widened, fear sparking, but determination mingled with it. "Then we need to act. This feeling, it's a warning." He nodded, the bond of confidence they had nurtured flickering, but with urgency. "Stay close to me. If something has breached our borders, we will face it together." With their hands still entwined, they burst from the garden, racing toward the castle, hearts pounding in unison like the drums of war. The castle loomed ahead, formidable against the sunset. Kaylin's gut twisted, knowing only chaos awaited them within. As they entered the main hall, the air thickened with tension. Servants rushed past, their faces stricken with fear, the sounds of raised voices echoing from the courtyard beyond. "What is happening?" Kaylin barked, stopping one of the passing guards. "Alpha! There's a pack breach!" The guard gasped, eyes wide with terror. "Rogues have slipped through the defenses. They—" "Hold the line," Kaylin commanded, cutting him off. "We need a strong defense. Gather the warriors." Kira squeezed his hand, grounding him even through the brewing chaos. "We can't let fear take control. We need to find out what they want. There may be a way to negotiate." "Negotiate?" Kaylin's brow furrowed, but he felt the steadiness in her grip, the unyielding courage surfacing within her. "They may want blood, Kira. I know. But what if we can help them, heal them?" she replied, uncertainty laced in her voice. "What if their desperation stems from pain just like ours?" The thought resonated with Kaylin, but the edges of loyalty to his people sharpened with apprehension. "We can't take such chances. Or we can embrace the possibility," Kira urged, lifting her chin defiantly. "What if one act of compassion could change the course of this conflict?" Kaylin searched her eyes, the embers of newfound trust sparking within him. "Together?" "Together," Kira affirmed, her quiet resolve fueling his own. Rallying his warriors, Kaylin moved toward the courtyard, the heart of chaos unfurling before them. Shadows flickered at the edges, dark forms circling like vultures. The commanding figure of their enemy emerged from the throng, a stark silhouette with eyes burning like embers set against the fading light. "Alpha Kaylin!" the rogue leader boomed, voice deep and resonant, slicing through the din of chaos. "A welcome for my pack, wouldn't you say?" The growl in his voice sent chills racing down Kaylin's spine, but Kira's presence kept his resolve from shattering. "Your welcome is poorly timed. You trespass on my territory, rogue. Yet here I stand," the leader scoffed, taking a step forward, his pack flanking him with feral eyes gleaming in the dusk. "You're a king with the heart of a coward, keeping your people in the dark. This is your chance to change that." "Change?" Kaylin's voice thundered, the challenge sharpening the tension. "You threaten us, and now you ask for change?" The rogue leader laughed, a harsh sound devoid of warmth. "Your pack's fear gives you strength, but what of your weakness? The fears that bind you? We can help each other." Kaylin hesitated, the urgency of Kira's grip reminding him of their shared promise. What could a rogue pack possibly offer? Freedom from pain, the leader shrugged, stepping closer. "We share bloodlines, the same sorrow, but you hide within your castle, like a coward." Kaylin felt Kira stiffen beside him, her intuition yanking his focus. "Perhaps you're right," Kira interjected, stepping forward, her voice steady and unyielding. "There's no reason to perpetuate a cycle of violence. Tell us what you seek." The rogue leader's gaze flickered with surprise, yet interest flowed through him. "A healer among you. Look how fragile your king is in heart. He leads with a sword, but we lead with honesty." A tension stretched between them. Kaylin's heart quickened. "My people will not trust you. You've infiltrated our territory, threatening all we hold dear." "And what do you hold dear?" The rogue shot back, his voice slicing through the air. "The remnants of the past buried in fear?" Calm surged within Kira, an unshakable strength emanating from her. "A truce can be drawn," she said, voice strong. "Let us share our scars. We both fight pain every day. Perhaps we can learn to heal in each other's presence." The rogue leader paused, uncertainty flickering again behind the ferocity of his eyes. "A healer among us would unite our packs, a lifeblood returning across our lands. Yet what do you want in return?" Kalen stepped forward, heart pounding. "You must swear loyalty to me. And if I offer you this chance, you must protect my people. If you aim to betray us, I will strike. But our bond must afford trust in return," the rogue leader shot back. "Only then can we find true healing." Kira moved closer to Kalen, her eyes searching his. Their connection flickered, dangerous but alive. Would they invite a slice of darkness within their home? Could this be the path toward healing, not just for themselves, but for a kingdom torn apart? "I will risk it," Kira affirmed, her voice ringing with determination. Kalen inhaled deeply, the weight of their future hanging by a fragile thread, trembling with possibility. "Then let us lay down the weapons of fear and embrace the strength of vulnerability, a bond forged from pain." As the moon began to rise, bathing the courtyard in silver light, the barriers between the two factions melted away for the moment, opening the door to a new beginning. Would this choice of trust invite a new dawn, a triumph over fear? Their futures entwined in the darkness and the light, they held their breath, waiting for the inevitable turn of their fates as healing hung in the air like a promise. The moon hung high, a silver sentinel watching over the courtyard where tension had thickened like fog. Kalen felt a new sense of purpose coursing through him, the urgency for healing flickering in the air thick with possibility. "Can we truly risk this?" Kalen said, glancing at Kira. "Trusting a rogue faction?" "We must," Kira replied, determination radiating from her. "This is how we change our fate. Together." The rogue leader stepped closer, dark eyes piercing the night. "You stand at a crossroads, Alpha Kalen. Will you take my pack's hand in unity?" Kalen hesitated, the past clawing at him, but Kira squeezed his hand, grounding his resolve. "If this is truly a pact for healing, I will accept it." "Then let's proceed with honesty." The rogue leader gestured expansively. "We share more than you realize, and our wounds are deep." As they traversed into the rogue territory, a palpable change in the atmosphere enveloped them. The landscape was rugged, filled with shadows that spoke of despair. Kalen swallowed the knot in his throat, alarm bells ringing in his mind. "What haunts you?" Kira asked softly, stepping toward the rogue leader. "What shadows linger?" "The land shows our grief," he said with an edge of bitterness. "What once thrived is now poisoned, just as we have been. It mirrors our pain." Kira approached the murky streams and touched the water. "This is a reflection of our collective hurt. If we can heal our hearts, we can heal this land." Kalen stepped beside her, feeling the weight of truth in her words. "An ambitious plan. It will take not just understanding, but sacrifice." Kira nodded, her eyes narrowing in focus. "But we can't do this alone. Healing requires trust and vulnerability." A murmur rippled through the assembled warriors of the rogue pack, uncertainty sparking within them. The rogue leader studied Kira, her light standing out against the darkness surrounding them. "Very well. We'll try your method. If we fail, it will be on our own heads," he declared, his voice steady, yet undercut with vulnerability. Kalen took a deep breath. "Together, then, we'll strive for change." Surrounded by both packs, Kira began guiding them in a collective ritual to acknowledge their pain, urging them to share their scars, literal and emotional. The openness ignited something deep, a tide that began to weave healing among them. "We can become legends of Kairos!" Kalen shouted, his voice resonating with newfound resolve. No longer divided by fear but united in strength. A collective energy began to swell, the darkness that once bound them loosening its grip. Kira, standing at the center, her presence vibrant and soothing, led them to face their pain together, unearthing paths for forgiveness and healing. With each revelation, shadows began to lift, and the land responded. Flowers unfurled, and streams shimmered, alive with potential. Hope blossomed before them, rippling like waves through the hearts of the warriors. As arms extended, bonds formed, Kalen felt deep within that this was a moment of transformation. Could they truly bridge the divide, turning scars into strength? If every wound was embraced, would they emerge stronger together? The rogue leader stepped forward. Let today mark a new dawn for us all, a chance to rebuild from the ashes of our past. Kalen cleared his throat, overwhelmed. May this be a testament to our resolve and the beginning of a new era. With the sun beginning to rise, illuminating their surroundings, their hearts soared at the possibility of reconstructing their destinies, unified against the complexities of life. Kira turned to Kalen, eyes sparkling. In the end, love will lead us, she whispered, hope illuminating her expression. As their fingers intertwined, their journey took on new meaning. Darkness would always linger, but they were ready to face it together. Together, Kalen breathed, feeling the strength of his people rallying behind them. Always. And as dawn broke, they stood united, poised to face whatever lay ahead, a formidable force woven together in healing. Would this newfound unity guide them toward a future filled with promise? As their hearts beat in unison, they were ready to embrace the legends waiting to be made, the light breaking through the darkness, forever intertwined in destiny.